Okay, what is up guys? We are still in the incredible Jordan, and today we are going to be checking out one of the new 7 wonders of the world. We are in Wadi Musa right now, and in amongst all these mountains is the world famous Petra. Now this is one of the oldest cities in the world, going back more than 2,000 years old, and I am incredibly excited to explore it. So let's get down there, get to the visitor center and start our journey there. So many people use Wadi Musa just as a place to stay, but it also has a very interesting history. Wadi Musa was believed to be a place where Moses walked through here and walked through this valley and struck a rock, and from that rock came water. And it's believed that the Nabateans, the people who built Petra, used a lot of springs and natural rainwater to fuel their city. Not only were they highly skilled craftsmen, they were also incredibly skilled at water irrigation. And that is something that we're going to get into today. Assalamu alaikum. Shukran. We have made it, guys. We see the first structures right up ahead of us. And yeah, it's currently about 7 a.m. at the visitor center. The entrance opened at 6:30. So if we look around, you can see these massive blocks carved out of stone, and these are gym blocks. And I think the belief is that these are used in some way, shape or form for the afterlife. And jinn in Arabic is kind of like a spirit of sorts. So it's possible that the Nabateans would have used these to house spirits. Now just a little short walk on after that, we have this, which is the obelisk tomb. And this gives us a really good insight into the Nabatean culture. We can see 4 elongated pyramids at the top here, and these represent Nefesh, or the soul. And again, this is believed to have some purpose relating to the afterlife. And yeah, you can see it is really, really special. And this is one of many very important monuments and very special monuments to come on this walk. And then you see the area below. This would often be used for, yeah, again, more ceremonial purposes. So perhaps when you have a death, you have a ceremony for this death, and that's where the bottom would be used for. So this marks the start of the journey. We are now in what is called the Sikh, and this means shaft or canyon in Arabic. And there's already one carving right here in the stone. Before the Nabateans came here, it was the Edomites, and they had presence in the region since the 13th century BC. And the Nabateans, who were originally these nomadic Arabic traders, came here in around the 4th century BC. And they had these polytheistic beliefs, which means they believed in many gods and goddesses, often relating to the natural world. So much like that of the Hellenistic Romans and Greeks, or, Egyptian gods, things like that. The kingdom flourished around the 1st century BC, and that was under King Aretas IV. They expanded beyond Jordan into, the Arabia, into Syria, into the Negev desert of modern-day Israel. And even their key cities, they expanded from beyond Petra to Hegra in Saudi Arabia and Bosra of Syria. So walking through here, I can just see the treasury, just the start of it, and it already looks absolutely magnificent. There it is. Absolutely phenomenal. This is something that I'm really passionate about, archaeology and history, and so to be stood here in front of this is an absolute dream. Wow. Throughout Petra, we are going to see many magnificent rock-cut facades, and because of the polytheistic beliefs that the Nabateans had, they believed that there was a journey that exists beyond death. The soul has a journey that exists beyond death. And so many of the carvings that we see throughout Petra are going to be tombs or mausoleums. And here, the treasury is, that doesn't fall short of that. So this is built as a tomb, very possibly for King Aretas IV. And recent excavations show there were 3 burial sites were found here, 3 kind of burial chambers. And yeah, I think the treasury right here is probably the most famous part of Petra. This is often what you will see. And I see why. It is, it's a real great example of the magnificent architectural power that the Nabatean kingdom held. And we see these Hellenistic kind of features throughout the treasury. So you can see up there's kind of these carvings of angels and different figures. And this is what we would see, in ancient Rome and Greece. And so I think it's so interesting that we are in the Middle East, we are in the middle of the desert, and yet because of trade, because of influence from other cultures, we see, like I said, the influence there. And I think that is really, really interesting. And the reason it gets the name treasury, if you see at the top here, there is an urn. And if you look closely, you can see it is kind of destroyed because there's a Bedouin belief, a Bedouin tale that tells the story of an Egyptian pharaoh who came here and stored treasure in that urn. And so they shot at it, but there's nothing there. And the reason that there's nothing there, the reason that there's no treasure inside, is because this whole thing is not a freestanding piece of rock that has been carved. This has been carved into the mountain, which makes it it's so impressive. So this would have been carved from top to bottom. And that is why on the left side and the right side over here, we can see these kind of foot markings. And so this is where, a scaffolding would be. And the Nabateans would have climbed to the top and start carving this from, like I said, from the top all the way down. And when you sculpt, if you make a little mistake, that could very possibly be game over and show, that's a real good example of just how talented and how intelligent these people were. So moving on from the incredible treasury, we can see the path kind of widens down here, and this is what is known as the outer Sikh. It's actually glorious looking back, and as I said, it really opens up here, and this is what is known as the High Tomb of Facades. And this is easily accessible, unlike a lot of places in Petra. This is on the level ground. Treasury also is very easy to get to, and I think a lot of people stop at the treasury. A lot of people believe that Petra is only the treasury, and that is very far from the truth. Petra spans more than 100 square miles, so it covers a very large area, and there's only been about 15 to 25% of it has been excavated. So many, secrets, so many structures are still beneath the ground, and to me that is that's so fascinating. We have no idea what could be here, right? And one thing that you're going to see here is a lot of cats and and some dogs. And so, if you like them, you bring some food for them, and they appreciate it. I don't think that they get very much food here, so you can see they are pretty colossal. And from the name, High Tomb of Facades or Street of Facades, you can probably guess these are also primarily tombs, and spans quite a distance actually. And you can see it's cut again into the mountain, into the sandstone, and you can see this marvel of colours and intricate design that is embedded in the rock. That's just the natural formation of the rock, and as I said, lots of different colour here, and all that cool little design. It's believed this has more of an Assyrian influence in terms of the architecture. So we can even go in one, inside the doorway, and of course, could be tombs, and over time people would have come to stay here. This is, a shelter from the outer elements. So maybe before it was discovered by the Western world, before it grew in popularity, a lot of Bedouins and nomads were traveling and staying throughout these caves. During the high time of the Nabatean kingdom, this was a real hub of trade. A lot of people came here through, they'd travel through the desert, and this is right in the middle of where they would be going to, where their destination would be. And so it became set up as a caravan route. So yes, the Nabateans would sell, the frankincense, the myrrh, and the spices and all of that. But this would also be a place for people to stop by. And so I don't know in this area particularly, but you can imagine a lot of markets, just like we see today. Maybe they'd be selling different things, not magnets and scarves and all of this. But yeah, people selling things. And this is how the Nabateans grew their wealth, just through trade, just through being in a really good location. And of course, because we are in a canyon, it is sheltered from the elements. And so, you know, this would be, yeah, a good place to just come, take a few days rest before you continue your travels. Now, just a little bit on from the cafes. As we have a panoramic view of this area, you can see that as far as the eye goes, there is structures all around, and it looks like around all here, you know, there's these kind of door frames. And like I said, as far as you can see, there is structures, there is facades, there is sculptures out of the rock here. Woo! So I've just taken a walk up here, and we can see a little bit of a better look of what the inside of these caves look like. And this could very well, you know, be like a living space where people would sleep. And we have a pretty tall climb up there. So I've just popped up at the top of the staircase, and you can see right there is another massive facade. And the heat now, I can definitely feel it. The sun is glaring down on us, but I think we can go in and take a look inside of this tomb. This again would be used as some form of burial chamber. So you can see a lot of different sections here, and this could be for, yeah, different burials. I'm actually the only one up here in this area. You can see, like, lots of people, you know, walking down on the main trail, but up here it is just us for now. And so that gives us the chance to really go in, look, and explore a little bit. I think, you know, a lot of these are going to be quite similar in design, tombs. Now that doesn't mean they are any less special than the next one, but it does mean that I'm not going to show you everything, otherwise this video would be very long. So I'm going to stop in this little spot and tell you a little bit more about the Nabateans. Now, as you've seen, they were masters at, you know, carving rock. And as you might have also noticed, Petra is in the desert. And for anything to survive in life, it needs water. To thrive and survive, we all need water, right? So the Nabateans were also these, yeah, again, masters at water irrigation. They developed these intricate and fascinating water systems that would allow them to store water for long periods of time. So you would see, you know, cisterns and water containers, not only on the top of hills, but throughout the city. And this would collect rainwater and allow them to use it, yeah, throughout the city and allow it to flourish in the desert. So they kind of manipulated their environment and, yeah, clearly very, very smart people. The water that was collected from these containers would have flown into a series of, you know, rock-cut channels and clay pipes. And these stretched throughout Petra for more than 200 kilometers. And we saw the first sign of this when we were in the Sikh, coming up to the treasury. If you look on both sides, there is basically, yeah, a rock-cut channel. And it's believed that on the left side, this would have been covered, like terracotta and forming like a, yeah, like a clay pipe. And this was water collected from springs, you know, fresh, clean water, whereas the right side was rainwater. Even the angle of these pipes was thought out. It's at a very slight angle, meaning that there would be a continual flow of water. And it wasn't just these that they designed. It wasn't just the intricate clay pipe system. It was also, they developed a fail-safe. So Petra, to this day, it can have flash floods. And so the Nabateans thought of this. Of course they did. They developed, you know, these dams and diversion tunnels. So if it were to flood, the city would not get ruined. And I think all of this creates something that is nothing short of just marvelous architectural design. So yes, a true oasis built 2,000 years ago. It just makes you think how smart and innovative these people were, not only to develop all these beautiful rock cuts and tombs, but also to supply water in the desert to a city of 20 to 30,000 people. I really think that when you come to places like this, or, you know, like things like the pyramids at Egypt, it makes you realize that even in modern day, this would be so hard if at all possible to replicate, right? And I think when you really look at it in that perspective, it makes you realize that maybe our ancestors were far smarter than we once thought. There are a bunch of flies here, so let's go and keep exploring. This brings us to the next section, the theatre. Now this was built by the Nabateans under the reign of King Aretas IV. And when the Romans came, of course, they liked the theatres, and they modified it a little bit and would have used it too. And you can see kind of from here that there's 3 sections. It was easier when I was from the top to look down, and you can see that. But there are about 45 rows of actual individual seats, and this has been cut into the mountain. Like a lot of the things that we see around Petra, it is cut directly into the mountain, which is like so impressive to me. And under the Roman rule, this would have been used for what Romans like to do, you know, poetry, readings, literature, things like that. I think the fact that I am walking in the footsteps of an ancient city is so special. Like, what I'm walking right now, you know, Nabateans would have walked, Romans would have walked, all the different people that have come here to trade would have walked. And yeah, I think that is that's a really special feeling. So, what was once a flourishing city full of bazaars and Nabatean life largely came to an end in 106 AD, in the 1st century AD. And that's when the Romans came and annexed the kingdom. And this brought an end to a roughly 400 to 500 year reign. Despite this, the Nabateans did continue to live in and around the Petra area. But we see in 363 AD, a large earthquake came and destroyed, you know, a lot of the infrastructure here, as well as the all-important water system. And yeah, because of this, along with a new trade routes, we see the kind of the abandonment of Petra over time. You know, the Nabateans largely left in the 4th century AD, and interestingly, it seems like it wasn't a rush process. There wasn't many possessions left behind, valuable possessions, so yeah, it suggested that it was an organized leave. And we see the overall general abandonment in the 7th century AD. And like I said, that was because, yes, the earthquake, but also a new set of trade routes. You know, the Roman trade routes, now they travel through sea. Petra became irrelevant for trade. And it remained this way, you know, it's got the name the Lost City, and it remained without inhabitants for a very long time. That was until 1812, where a Swiss traveller was travelling through the Arabian Peninsula, through this part of the world, and he had an alias. He was immersed himself in the local culture and disguised kind of as a local traveller. He found the city. He found the lost city of Petra. And 1 year later, we see that he goes on to discover the Abu Simbel temples in Egypt. So without him, maybe we would not be here right now. Because of his discoveries, you know, the Western world, the modern world, was now aware of this magnificent city. Now, as I have mentioned, the Nabateans were deeply connected with the belief of the afterlife, and what sits in front of us is the royal tombs. Now, because of their intricate design and their central location, these are for the royals. These would have either been for royal families or people of high social strata. First one that we're going up here is the urn tomb, and this gets its name from a funerary urn that is placed somewhere at the top. I just walked in. You can fully walk inside of these caves, or inside of these tombs, I should say. Really, really impressive. And I see a little dog in here. Hi, buddy. He was just chilling in the corner over there. Let's keep exploring this place. Bye bye. Wow. What a view. Whew. Wow. Look at that. Oh, this is very big. Oh, big echo. Wow, look at the colours. So yeah, this is the urn tomb. I'm blown away by the colours on the roof. Sandstone, I guess, has a lot of different variation in colour. And I think if you come to Petra at different times of day, depending on the way that the light comes in, you'll have a different view, say of the treasury or the monastery or any of the structures here. So you can see the urn up there, and I think, yeah, as I said, that is where it gets its name. And you even see the sandstone colour on the top, the same like the inside. So yeah, if you're only going to check out the treasury, you are going to miss places like this. I know not everybody has time. For me, I picked the 3-day pass because I know that I wanted to take my time and explore this. And I'm so happy that I'm able to. Because look at this. It is phenomenal. You have the theatre over there. And I think the monastery is down this way. But yeah, this is definitely worth the effort to come up here and enjoy the views. I'm thirsty, so I'm going to see if I can get a juice now. Salam. Yeah, could I have a juice? Fresh juice?
Orange or pomegranate or mix?
Orange, please.
Orange. It costs you 3 dinar.
Okay.
You like to have ice with it or without ice?
Could I have a little ice, please? Oh, thank you. Whew.
Very hot, huh?
Very hot.
Where are you from?
Half UK, half Sri Lanka.
But you live in UK, yeah?
I live in the UK. I was born there, yeah. Do you know Wales?
Wales, yes.
Wales? Yeah, I'm from Wales.
I've been to Wales.
You've been to Wales, yeah?
I've been to Wales. The name it was difficult for me.
Yeah, oh yeah, some Welsh is very difficult. This is the urn tomb, right? And then it's silk tomb next?
Yeah.
Next, okay.
Yeah, down.
The one over.
Tomb and the palace tomb.
And the palace tomb. This one, the urn is on the top,
Yeah.
but it's just, over time, it's got degraded.
Yeah.
I see. It's very beautiful.
Stone and it's destroyed.
Yeah. All of these mountains around here are sandstone. All sandstone, yeah. Ah, mashallah. Shukran. On to the next royal tomb. So I was just speaking to them guys up there, kind of just chilled out, and just talking about tourism. They said usually Petra can see up to 4,000 people a day. Now, sometimes 1,000, sometimes less. And in 2019, 1.1 million tourists. The year after, less than half of that. So obviously tourism affects, the local life here and the income. When UNESCO came into Petra and they declared it as a World Heritage Site, the government moved a lot of people that were living here around these areas, and they moved them into a village. And so, yeah, of course their lives are changed and they kind of have to adapt to tourism. And I think sometimes when we come to places, we don't always realise that we are able to enjoy things, but it has come at the cost of others. And yeah, for me, that was part of the reason that I wanted to visit Jordan. I saw videos talking about how it's quiet, and so I thought it's the perfect time to go to see how life is here. Not only because, yeah, it's less tourists, but also to support the people who are still here and are still working here. And this is the Silk Tomb, which is right down off the stairs from the urn. And this is the smallest of the 4 tombs here, and it's cut into it's kind of a recess inside of the mountain, inside of the sandstone. And again, we see these really, really beautiful colours here. And I think, yeah, just like the others, we can go inside. So again, just a big open space. And then just a little short walk, these are literally all next to each other. So a little bit after the Silk Tomb, we have here the Corinthian tomb. And this is named after the Corinthian style pillars, or the capitals. So Corinthian is kind of ancient Greek, I believe. And looking at it, it looks very similar to the treasury up here. Yes, there's less intricate details, at least what stands today. But the style, it looks wider. But yeah, the top is looking very similar with the pillars. And you can see this is a lot more worn. This is a lot more weathered than the treasury. And that is because of the location. The treasury is it's very sheltered, isn't it? Whereas this, open in the elements, amongst nature, getting the wind, the rain, and everything else that this desert climate has. And also, we can go in and check this one out. Oh, wow, look at the gold bands, the colour there in the rock. Again, yeah, really cool to come in and check this out. You can see the recesses in the walls here, and like a lot of them, we have these really incredible views. And this actually overlooks the city centre. All of the royal tombs do. And it really is a spectacular view. A kid just came up to me and he was selling postcards. And so I think it's a really difficult thing with children when you travel and they're selling things. I have learnt in the past, from my past travels, that it's not always a good idea to encourage this, because then, of course, they miss out on school and things. Now, it is Sunday, and I did ask him about school. I had a nice conversation with him. But yeah, of course, when you come to Petra, there is going to be a lot of people selling things. I would say people are not very pushy, and like if you say no, it's okay, you know, which is not the case everywhere. But yeah, it is something to be aware of. And again, like the use of animals and things, like it has actually gotten a lot better, as in the use of animals for donkeys and all of that has decreased a lot. When I was in Amman, I went to meet Sarah, and she runs a restaurant, I think Bite Sarah, and she was explaining to me about the situation with the animals here and how they were definitely not being taken care of. But her and the foundation were able to reduce the amount of animals that are here and introduce electric buggies. And she said a lot of people now are using them instead. Regardless though, I'm healthy, I'm fit, and I enjoy to walk around, so I don't need any of that. Yeah, I wouldn't really encourage it. But it is a few things to be aware of. Now, after the kid left, I saw him disappear into this hole, and he walked out of here and was waving goodbye to me. So let's see if we can do the same thing. Let's see if we can fit in this hole. Okay, I'm going to have to scratch this itch. Ah, it looks possible. Oh, oh dear. Oh, well, we made it. So I popped up my hole over there, and then we have the royal tomb. Now, this is the largest and most elaborate, and it follows more of a Greek Hellenistic influence. It's actually blocked off right here and over here, so you can't get up, and inside it does look like it's kind of corroded a little bit there, again, from the weather and the elements, but it is, yeah, very, very big. This is, I would say, yeah, a lot larger than the treasury, a lot wider, and there probably was a lot of detail that was in here. But yeah, over time, I don't know when this one was built, but we are in a city that goes back 2,000 years ago. So the mere fact that it's still standing in all its mass and size is very impressive. The Nabateans were clearly very, very knowledgeable about their trade. Front angle of it right here, and yeah, really, really nice. There's some caves across here, which could have been used for, yeah, I mean, sleeping in, I'm not too sure. But again, the way the gold comes through on the stone there is really beautiful. And I've been staring at this, enjoying it for a while. Now I'm heading up this way, which I believe will take me up the top of the mountain in some shape or form and back over, and we'll have a really nice view of the treasury. Okay, so after many steps, I got lost, and yeah, basically took the wrong turning. And as I came out, I saw security guards. They told me it's closed. But it's all good. I saw some beauty on the way up, so it is what it is. One of them things. I'm gonna head now back to the hostel. I think Petra, the park, the area is actually closing soon. So yeah, very much looking forward to having a nice cold drink, and then I'm just going to chill, relax until the brand new adventure starts tomorrow. We also have quite a few steps going back down, but yeah, man, this has been an incredible day, and yeah, something of mine that I am really grateful to be able to experience in Petra. Yes, the treasury was incredible, but of course the other things I've seen and experienced and the people I've talked to also has been a good experience. And yeah, because I have this deep passion for history and for places like this, of course I enjoyed, and I hope that you guys did too. Yeah, more will come tomorrow, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.